Donald Trump knows exactly what a soundbite is like here in the 21st century because he hit absolutely everything that he has been saying since day one and everything that his supporters eat up. Let's go ahead and bring a couple of the folks back here from the panel as we open things up. By the way, Miranda Kahn will be with us in a couple of moments here. She will give us the numbers and just remind us all once again. Peter Morici, you wrote a column today which said why so many Americans find Trump and Sanders appealing. I got to believe that one of the reasons is every single time Donald Trump comes out, he promises people exactly what they want to hear. He speaks their language.
Well, CEOs lead by creating a vision and a theme that then their managers work around and support. And that's what you're hearing right now. He's capturing people's imagination. And the two parties have a lot in common these days. They both believe in free trade. They both want immigration reform. The Republicans say they're for limited government until they get to Washington and govern, and then they're for Common Core and lots of regulation and so forth. These two guys are talking about free trade's a bad idea. The healthcare system's broken, and so forth. They may have different solutions, but people are disaffected, and they simply don't believe that Hillary will make things better. And frankly, the governors running on the Republican side and Mr. Rubio are going to give them the administration of George W. Bush again, and that didn't work out very well. So they know that they really have to have something different. And this guy hits all the bells. I mean, let's face it, Joe Paycheck doesn't want to listen to long discussions of exchange rates and trade policy. He wants somebody to say, look, trade's a problem, I'll fix it, and if I don't fix it, you can hold me accountable, like a Budweiser commercial. It's great.
Hey, Rick, let me bring you into this as well, because, look, the words Joe Paycheck that Peter just used are ones that I use all the time, because those are the common people. That's America. Those are the people that want to hear somebody tell them that things are going to be better here. Let's face facts. Donald Trump tells them that on the right. Bernie Sanders tells them that on the left. It's what Bernie Sanders said tonight. He hit all the same points that were going to help the people who have been disaffected and downtrodden for so many generations. That's the key. And they say it, and people believe it because they say it with conviction.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely right. But, you know, there's another part to it. You actually have to be able to deliver it. To say that it's all going to be great, it's all going to be wonderful, I'm going to get everything, that's terrific. We all love hearing that. It's usually a good idea to give us some kind of a prescription for how you're going to do it. To say that, you know, we're going to get rid of Obamacare and we're going to replace it with something great. You know, I kind of like to know what that's going to be.
Oh, but wait a minute, I'm going to have to call you on this one, Rick, and I'm going to bring Steve into this as well and everybody else. But, Rick, there's not a politician in the world who comes out at this point and tells everybody exactly what they're going to do. And I agree with you on that. Donald Trump comes out and he surface glosses everything. But who else really comes out and gives you any ideas and any exact specifics, Rick?
They don't get as specific as we would all like. I'll certainly agree with that. But you know what? In most cases, even on the Republican side, they'll say, and go to my webpage and take a look at what I've written there on my policy page. Trump doesn't even have that. He just says it's going to be great. I don't know why people go for it. I agree with you that they're going for it, but...
Well, you know what? To be fair, at the debate, the last debate, Ted Cruz...
Hold on one sec. Peter, I'm going to hang you for 1 sec because I wanted Steve to go ahead and weigh in on this. I'm coming right to you. Go ahead, Steve.
At the debate, Ted Cruz gave, in about 2 minutes worth or less, gave a very detailed plan on immigration, fixed wing aircraft, etc. He talked about it in depth, and on Obamacare, insurance opening up across state line. He was very specific, and he did say, go to tedcruz.org or .com or whatever. I'm not holding that against Trump that he's not. Trump isn't going to sit in the Oval Office alone in a vacuum and have to sit there and say, okay, now what do I put down on the paper for the new Obamacare replacement? He's going to have himself surrounded with the best and the brightest, hopefully. And it's not only, it's populism. We've been talking about populism all night and economics and Joe Paycheck, but it's much, much more than that with Trump. It's immigration. It's the fight against ISIS. It's the comparison to the Democrats who say Muslims have nothing to do with terror. Oh, we can't check anybody who comes into this country. Blah, 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 blah. He resonates on almost every single issue with America, I won't say the average American, but with a lot of Americans.
All right, Peter, to you.
Well, I think he's very specific, for example, on trade. And if you go to his website and you go to the page, it's basically what Romney promised to do. The only thing is it's surrounded by a lot of rhetoric when he's on the stump. On immigration, he's hitting the nail on the head. He's basically saying, I'm going to enforce the law. Surprise, that can be done in America. We do have border security if we want it. He's also in the hospitality business, and he realizes we need immigrants to run that industry. So he's saying, well, if you come in legally, that's a policy last I heard. On security and ISIS and so forth, Obama's been tying the hands of the military, whether it's ISIS or China. Those guys have plans. He's going to let the generals help him define a plan. No, it's there. We might not like the way he has presented it, but there's a reason he is resonating. You know, Rumsfeld said if you drop a plumb line down into the American people, there's a sensibility that sooner or later, resonates and rings true. Mr. Trump has the best political ear in America.
Now, let's get to some statistics here. Donald Trump took support in this New Hampshire primary from 50% of Republicans who named immigration, here we go, as their top issue. He won 42% of the vote among those who support banning non-U.S. Muslims from entering the country. He also won nearly half, 45% of voters who have never been to college, and nearly 4 in 10, 37% of gun owners. Rick, you've got to agree something. This is a cross-section of America here. And while a lot of people may just go ahead and say that Donald Trump, you're never going to be president, if he keeps speaking to these people, Rick, who knows what's going to happen? They already discount him in so many ways in South Carolina, Nevada, Texas, and other places. Who's to say that he's not speaking to the right people every single day?
Well, I'm not saying that. And in fact, you're right in how you analyze his audience. They are there. But they're also the same people, it turns out, that would allow Mr. Trump to stand up at a rally where there's children present and use a word that I didn't think anybody would use on television, let alone somebody who wants to be president of the United States of America. So if that's okay with them, and apparently it is, then what can I say? I sometimes come to the conclusion that maybe he's right. Maybe America isn't the greatest anymore. But if we're not, that's why.
Why? Because somebody showed up at a Trump
really?
rally
Because
and said
you don't like the
word we
language
can't
he
repeat?
uses?
Hang on a sec.
Hold on a second.
Steve, hang on. Hold on.
You don't like-
Hang
That's
tight.
not America?
Stephen, hang on one sec. Go ahead, Peter. I'm going to let you in here.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. We use that kind of language in offices every day. Maybe not that particular word. But, when I was a young man and first went to see TV in New York in the early 50s, there was a whole list of words you couldn't use without getting thrown off the air. When I started hosting radio, I asked, what words can't I use? And they only gave me 2. No, I don't. And remember,
kids,
that
Peter?
word came from the audience initially.
All right, go ahead and answer him back there, Rick.
But he voiced it. What a ridiculous thing to say. So if somebody from the audience says something and initially, it's okay for a man who wants to be the leader of the free world to just sit there and say it out loud when there's kids
All right,
present.
Madeline.
I do have children. You know what? And I
Go
have
back and look at the
grandchildren,
tape.
and
Go back and look at the
I don't
tape. It
want them
wasn't
hearing
quite that way.
All right, let's go ahead. Steve, I want
Yes,
you to get
it
in here. I
was.
know you got something to point on this.
Madeleine Albright stood there and
How could
said,
you possibly defend
Madeleine
that?
Albright stood there
Right,
and
you're
said,
all
women
going
who
to
don't
hell.
vote for Hillary are going to hell.
I agree.
And Hillary laughed and laughed and laughed. So look at that. That's just, but you know what's really worse?
People are
Hey, listen.
rational. They're not buying this.
Madeline
Gentlemen,
goes
let
to
me
my
ask a
church,
simple
and
question here. Gentlemen, if I can ask a simple question, just to everybody's point here. Is it not fair to say that there is a section of America that thinks that the president should be presidential, and Steve, I'll come to you first on this, who believe that the use of the word, and again, Donald Trump did not call the individual that. He agreed with the individual from the floor,
He said the
and then he
word.
repeated it. He repeated it, but is it not fair to say that many of the things that he has said, there are people who want their president to get things done and still be presidential?
Yeah, but I think get things done is more important than being presidential. Yeah. And I think, you know what? When my son, who's now 16, if he were 8, where we sat and watched sporting events, and then we see some kind of a promo for a gay TV show on ABC that was showing the NBA Game of the Week, how's that? Or if you're talking about what was on the Super Bowl, where you have a halftime show with Rihanna, who's doing a Black Panther salute, bunch of cop killers she's saluting. I mean, give me a break. That's society. That's what America has become. Donald Trump says a word at a rally, so don't take it
All right,
to a
gentlemen.
rally.
All right, gentlemen. Hang tight. Ho, ho. Here we go. Hang on just a sec, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call a couple of seconds here. Everybody calm down.